Hello and welcome to this video on unlocking the potential of emerging markets. As domestic markets deteriorate, many brands are looking abroad to increase their sales. During this video, a number of key brands will talk about their experiences and give practical advice on how you can not only survive this difficult period, but benefit from effective communications in emerging markets.
Need states. In beer, if I take mature markets, I think emotional engagement is key. My view is 80% of consumers purchase a beer based on the emotional need. 20% will then buy maybe or reassure themselves through the rational benefit. But new news is paramount. In developing markets, it's about benefits, rational benefits. What can the beer do for you first? The emotional engagement is important, of course it is, but people go into markets in Africa, they read the labels, they want to know what's in it, and they want to know that it's good for them. And there's a little model we've created here, probably too small for you to read, but essentially there are 5 need states floating around, all rationally based on nutrition, meal substitutes, and there is an element of they want value for money delivered by alcohol kick. But it exists, we've recognised it, and you deliver against it.
It goes back to understanding your local markets. If you're operating across multi-territories with multi-products, multi-services, understanding the consumer needs, the consumer sort of changes in terms of their habits, their behaviours, and what nuances there are in each market, and each segment, takes a lot of research. Unless you've researched the market, it's going to be very hard to put your global messaging, communications, locally relevant. And you really need to understand the local market before you start implementing some global strategies. But the advantage of having the global strategies is a lot of the hard work has been done in terms of the core messages from the mother brand that needs to be put into the market. You just need to look at how to localize them.
And anybody got any challenges on language, use of language in different markets? Or is it dead easy? I can't think Xerox is the only one that has a struggle with this.
And I think this is a prime example of where you need to start to understand how to connect the consumer. Because I'm a big advocate that you have a potentially a global insight and maybe a global positioning, but it's the activation locally. And I think you have to be very clear as a brand owner, what your corporate guidelines are, what the look and feel. I think one of our legal colleagues talked about the style book. But if you are trying to connect with a consumer at a very low level and you've got to resonate, then you've got to choose the language that is most appropriate.
Can you give some examples of where brands have got things wrong? They haven't done their research and they've launched a product or a bit of marketing collateral in the country and it hasn't been received in the way they'd hoped.
There are some classic examples of where international companies have just not done their homework when it comes to entering international markets. The most obvious examples that spring to my mind are Opel, who entered Latin America with a car called Nova. It doesn't go, hardly what you want from a car. And Pepsi launched in Taiwan with a slogan roughly translated as brings your relatives back from the dead.